Hi there, I'm Robert John Hadfield. I'm the owner of Thick and Mystic Media, and we're here today in the Thick and Mystic studios, and wanted to make a little video about something you've probably seen before, but maybe didn't know what you were looking at. And it's called a shock mount. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, and I'm going to explain what this is. Now, if you've ever seen, you've probably seen something like this before, where you see somebody that has a handheld microphone and they put it back in the stand. And this right here is called a mic clip, microphone clip. And just through pressure, you put the mic in and it stands there, it sits there, and that's pretty much all there is to it, a basic mic clip. But then you go into a studio and you see something crazy like this. You see this microphone that's sitting in this weird contraption. Now, of course, that microphone's much bigger than this microphone, so it needs something that'll fit it, but you'll see it's way more complicated than just this little piece of plastic right here. So I'm going to explain what that is. This is called a shock mount. Now, what is the purpose of a shock mount? What happens is, especially when you're dealing with a condenser microphone, and if you don't know what that is, I have some other videos that talk a little bit about the difference between a condenser and a dynamic microphone. This is a dynamic microphone, and that is a condenser microphone. Condenser microphones are really, really sensitive. And what'll happen sometimes is if I were to bump the stand here, bang into it, what happens is the vibration from the stand getting bumped will actually get into the microphone, and the microphone will have a thud, or you'll hear the vibration happening. Sometimes if a singer is singing into one of these microphones and they're standing on a wood floor and they start tapping their foot or something like that, the vibration will actually go through the stand and it'll make the microphone vibrate even just a tiny little bit, but it'll pick it up as a really, really low frequency sound. And then when you go listen to it in studio monitors, you'll hear the bumping. And so what they did is they created this, especially for condenser microphones, these shock mounts that, for all intents and purposes, what they're attempting to do is suspend the microphone, almost suspending it in midair almost. And what they do is they have these, you can kind of see this webbing, and I'll explain it, that it's this elastic rope almost, this cord that holds it in place. And I'll show you how this works. I've got several examples of these shock mounts here. And you see what this is you have this area that the mic sits in right there, and then you have this outside circle right there. Now, what happens then is you pull these in, it releases it, and then you can take the microphone, slide it in right there, let go, and then the microphone is held firmly. And you'll see that the microphone kind of moves independently, because what's holding it really in place is just this elastic, this little webbing that they created. So the microphone actually doesn't have any sort of real physical contact that makes it to the stand, because it's being suspended almost in midair that way. So this is an example, and you'll see that there's a little bit of foam on the inside here to help with that pressure to hold it in place. These two clips, this is kind of a universal look, how these microphones, what a clip like this, you'll see that the circumference of the microphone is a little bit, they're made for slightly different size microphones here, but the concept's kind of the same. You have this elastic cord, this elastic rope that suspends this thing in the middle. And once again, I'll kind of put a microphone in place here so you can see. Put that in there, and once again, you'll kind of see how this whole thing moves independently inside of that circle, so that if something gets banged, that vibration won't make it all the way through to the microphone, or at least it'll minimize it. You'll see a couple others here that are a little different. This one is shiny and cool looking, but it's actually very, very cheap. It's it's just plastic. And yet we use this one. I pulled this one out because you can see really clearly that little foam on the inside here that helps with the pressure once you put the microphone in there and release it. And you can see, once again, it's the same principle right there that holds that microphone, kind of suspends it. And then you have a couple others here that are a little bit smaller. These are made for smaller microphones, obviously, but the same principle. You'll see that has the same webbing. And then this one would be used perhaps for something more like a shotgun microphone like this. And the shotgun microphone has a slightly different purpose than some of these other microphones. And you see in this case, that clip opens up like so. you'd set the microphone in there, but you can really get a sense of how that thing just kind of is suspended in that space. So if this were sitting up on a microphone stand up high, for example, this shotgun microphone, you might put this up in the air and suspend it and down into somebody, but you might be moving while you're talking, which then would get through the stand up into the microphone, and then this shock mount prevents that vibration from getting into the mic. Now I'm going to take one of these apart so you can see how these things are put together, and maybe it'll make a little bit more sense what you're looking at. So let me get a couple of these out of the way. So I'm going to take this one apart. This is one that came with, actually, it says Rode right there. So this actually came with one of our Rode microphones, Rode Australia. And I'm going to disassemble this. You're going to see that there's two of these little elastic cords. So I'm just going to start pulling it apart like so. And then you'll see how this whole thing's put together. So I've removed the top one. Now I'm going to remove the bottom elastic. Kind of see what's going on there. So now I've got the elastics taken off, so I'm now going to remove this, and now that piece is independent. And then you can see the hoop or the circle that it suspends within. So the idea then is that the microphone is kind of just suspended in this space right there. And that's what keeps it from getting the vibration from the stand. So then this little clip, this elastic pops out of these little things. And you'll see it's just an elastic cord. Not much more to it than that. Just connected in 4 spots on the top and the bottom. And that's all there is to it. So that's the whole thing. You could disassemble it and take this off, so I guess there's 5 pieces or so, but really there's these 4 main things here that come with the shock mount. And that's generally the idea. So then you would take a microphone like so, open it up like that, and that's basically the idea right there. And then this, of course, is being suspended, sits in here like that. It's being suspended like so, so that any vibrations on the stand won't transfer into the microphone and get those low-end thuds and thumps and rumbles. So now I'm going to attempt to put this back together, so you can kind of see what we're dealing with here. So we just kind of start popping it into, this can actually be a little bit tricky when you start putting it back in there, but we will get this done. So now we have the top elastic in place. We'll get the bottom one going here. All right, so now we have the 2 elastics there. We're going to have the grip kind of towards the opposite side from where the stand is going to be. So we'll kind of set that up through there, and then these elastics catch on these hooks that are on the little circle. Actually, I need to put it more in place there for it to catch. So now like so. Now I'm going to connect it on this side. There we go. All right, all back together. So that right there is a shock mount, and that's how that works. And once again, you can kind of see how it kind of floats in there on that elastic cord. And then microphones like so. Interestingly, a microphone like this, which is a dynamic microphone, you can use them. It'll actually help in some cases with these things too. This microphone you speak straight into, so you would mount this slightly differently when you put it on the stand. Whereas a microphone like this that I'm speaking into right now, the sound you're hearing right now is coming through this. A microphone like this, you actually speak into it this way, not this way. You speak into it this way. And sometimes with these shock mounts, because they're held just by pressure, you can put it on a stand and sing or speak into it this way, but a lot of people will put them on a boom, and they'll actually have it upside down, like so, and then speak into it this way. The only thing that's important when you're dealing with a microphone like this is to be speaking into the right side, because this microphone is a cardioid microphone, which means that you get sound in this side, but you don't get much in on this side. And generally speaking, the way you know which side to speak into on a microphone like this, condenser microphone, one that's set up to speak into this way, is that whatever side the logo is on, and this is kind of generally true, whatever side the logo of the company is on, that's the side you speak into. Now, of course, this microphone here, this is a really inexpensive microphone, and you can't switch the patterns, but this one, you can actually change it so that it has an omnidirectional pattern or the cardioid pattern. This one simply only has the cardioid pattern. So in this case, once again, when you are doing the cardioid pattern, you're always talking into the side that has the logo. Anyway, so that is what a shock mount is all about. You may have seen those before, and now you know how the thing works and what its purpose is. Anyway, if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. Give us a like. Leave any comments below. We'd love to see what you have to say about it. If you have any other questions or comments, we'd love to read them. So anyway, talk to you soon.